I could feel the weight of the day pressing down on me as I stepped out of the coffee shop, my arms laden with groceries and my purse swinging awkwardly on my shoulder. The sun was hanging low, casting long shadows across the sidewalk as I made my way to the building where I lived. It was supposed to be a normal day, coffee, groceries, a quiet evening at home, but somewhere along the way, something went wrong. I fumbled through my bag as I reached the front door of my apartment building, my fingers brushing past receipts, lip balm, and loose change. No keys. I tried again, my heart sinking as I dug deeper, pushing aside a crumpled napkin and some old gum wrappers. Still nothing. Panic started to seep in, and I checked every pocket, every crevice of my purse, like a broken record on repeat. No keys. I stared at the door, realizing with a sickening lurch that I didn't have my keys. How could I forget them? I thought. I'd only been out for a couple of hours. Maybe I'd left them on the kitchen counter or in the grocery bag. But I didn't have time to go back to the store or to retrace my steps. It was getting late. The streetlights flickered on, casting an eerie glow as the sun dipped behind the buildings, and I was locked out. I called my roommate, no answer. Of course. I texted her, hoping for some miracle. I tried to think of anyone else who had a spare key, but no one. I was alone, stuck outside in the growing dark, with nothing to do but wait for the world to turn cold. I pulled my jacket tighter around me and stood by the door, feeling like the city was closing in. It was a quiet street, but the longer I stood there, the more I felt like eyes were on me. Maybe it was just my imagination, but every footstep that echoed nearby made me stiffen. I could see a figure approaching from a distance. At first, I brushed it off, just someone walking home, maybe. But as they got closer, I could feel my heart start to race. They were walking too fast. By the time they were almost in front of me, I knew something was wrong. The figure wasn't just walking, they were lurching toward me, eyes wild, their face hidden in the shadows. I tried to step back, my mind screaming for me to move, but I was frozen. The hairs on the back of my neck prickled as I could hear their uneven breath, and I could feel their presence looming over me. My first instinct was to run, but my feet wouldn't move. "Hey," the voice broke through the tension, low and grating. "You got a minute?" I swallowed hard, nodding despite myself. My mind raced. Asterisk, what if this is the start of something worse? What if I'm trapped here with no way out? Asterisk. I've lost my keys, I stammered, trying to keep my voice steady. "I just need to get home." The figure paused, studying me with eyes that glinted in the dim light, before they tilted their head and laughed, a sharp, unsettling sound that made my stomach churn. "Well, you're gonna have a long wait then." I didn't know what they meant by that, but before I could respond, I heard more footsteps, more people coming down the street. My blood ran cold. More figures, like shadows stretching long and thin, heading in my direction. My heart pounded in my chest as I stepped back toward the building, my mind racing. Asterisk, what do I do? What do I do? Asterisk. There was no one around, no one to help. The street was silent, save for the creeping footsteps that seemed to close in on me from all sides. I could feel my knees weakening, the weight of fear settling in. The figures moved closer, their shapes dark and indistinct, but there were too many of them. I couldn't outrun them, and there was no one who could hear me scream. As they surrounded me, one of them stepped forward, a sinister grin on their face. "Lost your way home, sweetheart." I clenched my fists, my mind racing, searching for something, anything, besides surrender. A thought flashed through my head. What if I call 911? But my phone was still buried deep in my purse, too far to reach. And then, in the distance, I saw a glimmer of movement, a flash of light. A car. A shadow passed, and in that split second, the figures hesitated. They turned, distracted by the approaching headlights. I took my chance. My heart thundered as I bolted toward the street, toward the light, not daring to look back. The footsteps behind me slowed, and I pushed my legs harder, desperation fueling every stride. Finally, the headlights of the car grew closer, and I nearly stumbled into the street before the car screeched to a halt in front of me. The door swung open, and the driver, a man with a worried expression, yelled, "Get in." Without thinking, I scrambled into the passenger seat, panting heavily as the door slammed shut behind me. The car roared to life, and we sped away from the scene, the dark figures fading in the rearview mirror. I didn't speak for a long time, my heart still racing, my hands trembling. I was safe for now, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the worst part wasn't over. It was only when the car pulled up to my building and I realized I still didn't have my keys that I let out a shaky laugh. It was going to be another long night.